From the Russ Center for Media in downtown Cape Girardeau, welcome to SE Connect, a program connecting you with the people, events, and issues at Southeast Missouri State University and the region. I'm Dan Woods with KRCU Public Radio. Later on today's program, we'll be talking with Dr. Stephen Stovall from Southeast Department of Management. We'll ask him about entrepreneurship opportunities available to students at the university. That's later. Over the summer, Missouri Governor Mike Parsons signed a bill into law that designated Southeast Missouri State University as an institution of higher learning with a statewide mission in the areas of computer science, cybersecurity, and visual and performing arts. Rhonda Weller-Stilson is the Dean of the Holland College of Arts and Media here at Southeast, and she's here to tell us what that designation means for her college and more. Hi, Rhonda.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Good to see you,
Good.
as always.
Thank you.
We haven't had a chance to catch up in a while, so we have lots to talk about. So tell us what this statewide mission for visual and performing arts means.
Well, for us, it means that we're being recognized as having outstanding programs in visual and performing arts. We've known that, but now we get to share that with others.
Yeah.
And so with all of our national accreditations and all the changes we've made to curriculum to continually adapt and to have these wonderful facilities that we have in the college, all of those things have come together to help us get the statewide mission.
That has to help with recruiting and telling that story to students. That has to be a real plus, I would think, for this college.
Yes, this is the first year, obviously, so we will see how this plays out, but we think it's going to be just another piece of the story that we tell prospective students and families.
Yeah. When did the River Campus open? How many years are we in?
We are in our 15th season.
Is it 15?
So, yeah, fall of 2007.
That's amazing to me.
It is amazing.
It's gone by fast.
It has flown.
So let's talk about growth, and you mentioned this a little bit, but for the past 15 years, there's continually been growth in the number of students that are involved, and even some of the physical spaces have changed and grown. What's kind of going on down there now?
Well, as you mentioned, we have grown over the years, and we're up to over 950 majors in the college. And of course, there are a lot of minors and non-majors that take our classes and are part of our ensembles and other activities. Over the years, our footprint has actually changed. The physical piece, we started with 2 buildings, which was the Cultural Arts Center and the seminary. And over the years, we added the Dobbins building that has our residence life facilities, and then also teaching studios. And then we've marched down the street, as I put it, so we have a marching band complex, and so that is now the annex where marching band has their own football field to practice on. And so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you drive by the River Campus in the afternoon, you can hear the marching band in practice. And then we're marching further down the street toward the Pancake House, and we will have an arts complex, and that will open in the spring. So we're super excited about that addition.
Wow, and I guess this is all happening just because there's just more and more students wanting to take classes and and get involved in the visual and performing arts. So it just really speaks to the quality, like you said, but also to the interest students to get in these fields.
Yes, that's true, and I also think it shows that the administration is so dedicated to the arts at Southeast, as is the community, and so all of those partnerships have come together to help us with this expansion.
Very exciting. Let's talk about the pandemic. The college weathered that really well, from what I can see. A lot of things had to change to continue to do shows, and I think you're one of the few universities that we actually kept doing performances. So kind of take us behind the scenes on how that all came to be and how it all worked.
It's a year I hope we never have to repeat, but now we're very quick on our feet.
Yeah.
That ability to improv, it served us well. And so the faculty and the staff were presented the problem of how do we keep experiential learning going in the arts while trying to maintain a safe environment. And so we did a lot of problem solving and a lot of investigation, and as you said, a lot of universities decided to curtail their visual and performing arts, whereas we chose to continue moving forward. And so we utilized the university's Protect the Nest guidelines, and then also our different industry standards helped us, like with the backstage. So for example, if we were doing a music ensemble and you came to one of our productions, in the concerts you would see people wearing bell covers on their instruments They continued to wear masks no matter who was performing. We were over 6 feet apart. In the performing arts, they recommended 12 feet apart. And then we had the audience at least 12 feet away. The audience was masked. They were sitting with 6-foot circumferences. Everything was sterilized on a regular basis. All the crew backstage wore masks. Dressing room policies were changed so that people were further apart. Just every aspect was affected. And we were able to do it, and we know of no situation where anyone became ill because of anything we did in rehearsal, production, or with the audience. So it was wonderful to keep moving forward.
So you really kind of had to sit down and, I guess, put all your heads together and figure out how can we do this?
We did. It represented hours and hours of faculty and staff working with the University ERT committee and also working with our partnership with Southeast Hospital and our chart clinic so that we could monitor the performance, the actors and the music ensemble participants to monitor their health, make sure that everyone was taking all precautions.
So what's interesting to me is, so when you go to a performance, a play, let's say for example, one of the things an audience member does is reads the expressions of the actors. So if they're wearing masks, how did that work?
It did make it more difficult for the actors. It was a learning experience.
Yeah.
If you think about the history of theater back to the Greeks, they did wear masks. So of course everything was done with gestures and costumes and other things to help communicate. So we, of course, had to utilize that, and we brought in a new sound designer, and he was able to help us with having microphones with the masks so that people could still hear the performers. But it was certainly a challenge.
Yeah, with the microphones, I guess, under the masks somehow? Well, that'd be interesting. That'd be something I'd be curious about, just because being in radio, how you make that work.
Yes, it's beyond my expertise, but it took a lot of experimentation.
Yeah, and I guess the audiences, you had to limit capacities too on all this, right?
Exactly.
With all of that.
So we went from seating around 940 people in the Bedell to more like 150. And in the Rust, we could only seat 40. So sometimes what we did, in addition to having the live performances, is we did streaming with the Department of Mass Media. And so, for example, Bring It On, which was the first show we did it live on campus, and then we streamed it as well.
That would be neat for folks who weren't here in Southeast Missouri, and maybe their nephew, niece, or whoever was performing, they could watch it. That would be kind of a unique opportunity.
It was very good. We had a student who was from Puerto Rico originally, so their family in Puerto Rico could watch, and others from California. So it was a positive. But what happens with us with royalties is you can't normally stream, and so some of the companies allowed us to do that because of this situation.
Okay.
But they wouldn't going forward.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of the things that are coming up, and let's look ahead to December. I know the holiday concerts that are held at the River Campus are always well attended and well received, so tell us what's coming up.
Yes, there will be it's become an annual event now, the Big Band Christmas Jukebox, and that's become a big favorite of the community because it brings together, it's a collaboration of theater and dance and music, and so you'll get to hear jazz and more classically trained vocalist, and you'll get to see dance and just have fun. So that's a big holiday favorite. And then also we have the Wind Symphony Holiday Concert and the Percussion Ensemble Family Holiday Concert, which has been going on for several years at the River Campus.
Yeah, so a lot of things coming up, and let's sneak ahead to the spring. What are some of the shows that people are going to go, oh, yeah, that's going to want to see that?
Well, we're going to start off with HMS Pinafore. That is the Southeast Opera Theater's first production in the spring. And then we'll follow that with Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Everybody knows
so, yeah, that's going to be a big favorite. And we always love it because when we do shows like that, little girls dress up as their favorite characters. So that'll be a treat. And then we'll have, of course, Spring Into Dance. And then all of the ensembles will have major concert series. So we'll have the Clark Terry Jazz Festival. And the symphony, I believe, will end with a Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff concert.
So a lot of great things coming.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little about alumni who have graduated from the program. I read periodically, every now and then there'll be a release about something one of our alumni are working on. What are some of the things that are happening out there from alums from River Campus from your program?
Well, of course, the college is more than just the River Campus. It includes the Department of Mass Media and here at the Russ Media Center and in the Grau building. But our majors they're all over the world. They're on the Norwegian cruise line. They're doing national commercials in California. We've got mass media students working for Hallmark and Discovery Channel. Of course, there's Cedric the Entertainer and his show on CBS. We've got people writing for newspapers, interior designers working for large firms, graphic designers in St. Louis for major companies. So they're all over the world and all aspects of the entertainment industry.
And I know sometimes they'll have an opportunity for one of those alums to either come back to campus and speak to current students, or maybe to do something on Zoom. What kind of impact does that have on current students?
It makes all the difference in the world for them to see someone that grew up in the boot heel and is now a major star. I mean, that shows them that yes, they can do it too. So it does have a major impact. And we constantly, during homecoming periods, when we're doing Fault Line Film Festival in the spring, we'll have different alumni come back and talk to our students.
Because sometimes you may feel like, oh, it's so tough to get in to the industry. It can be challenging at times. So to hear that someone went through those steps and
It is challenging, but we really work with our students to help them network and to find their niche, because it's, a multi-billion-dollar industry. So there's lots of opportunities out there.
We've got a couple of minutes left. One more other thing I wanted to ask you about was the Yamaha program. Probably not the exact name, but tell us about that real quick.
Yes, we were designated a Yamaha Institution of Excellence. We're one of 10 music programs in the country that received that, so we're very excited. And it doesn't just mean that we've bought new instruments, and we have wonderful, beautiful pianos and other marching band instruments. But it means that we are incorporating technology into our music and theater and dance programs. And so we're utilizing those instruments and teaching our students how to use technology. It was a big game changer during this pandemic, because students could be playing one of our pianos in the Shuck Recital Hall and having a master class with someone in New York or Texas. So it's really been a game changer for us.
I remember talking to Dr. Kevin Hampton about that, and so he could, by watching, you could see how far they pressed the keys in real time on the other side of the country.
Exactly.
I just found that to be absolutely amazing technology.
That, and students can be sitting in the Shuck playing a piece even alone, and then they can tape it so that they can step back and they can see exactly what they did, so they can critique themselves as well.
That's something. Before we go, in case folks are curious about what's happening at the River Campus, about the shows, what's the best way to find out more information?
Of course, you can go online, and the box office number is 651-2265, and we're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 at the box office, and you can drop in as well.
Great. Well, Rhonda, it's always good to talk with you. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk with Dr. Stephen Stovall from Southeast Department of Management. You're watching SE Connect. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
We are very pleased that Southeast has received statewide mission designation for the arts. It recognizes us as leaders in the visual and performing arts and confirms the quality of our programs. We are Missouri's only campus dedicated to the arts, being art, dance, music, and theater. And we are nationally accredited in all 4 areas of the art. This year, we were named a Yamaha Institution of Excellence, and theater was named a top musical theater program in the country. We've seen the number of majors increase greatly, and we're recruiting nationally. We consider it critical for our programs that we demonstrate to students how to get careers in the arts. We have students who've been stage managers, they've opened their own dance studios, they're doing film work, just all types of careers. We never rest. We keep going, and there'll be something new tomorrow.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
We prepare the region's teachers, nurses, business leaders, police officers, journalists, artists, farmers, and IT workforce. We are transforming the way we teach and what we teach, so students are workforce ready the day they graduate. And flexible course offerings makes it possible to go to class when and where it is most convenient for you. We love serving Southeast Missouri. We are Southeast Missouri, and we can't wait to see you on campus this fall.
Welcome back to SE Connect. Dr. Stephen Stovall is the Assistant Professor of Management and Entrepreneurship at Southeast Missouri State University, and he brings a wealth of real-world business experience to the classroom. He started 4 companies and has held executive positions with a Fortune 500 company in the fields of sales and human resources management, and that's just the tip of the iceberg on his bio. We're going to talk to him more. Stephen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good to talk about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It's a very good thing.
Yeah. So tell us a little more about your background and then what led you to Southeast Missouri State.
Absolutely. So I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. Started out in Texas on a farm and sold produce at the side of the road. And then that developed into a class project when I was an undergrad, and the professor gave this assignment to flip through our textbook, find a bold-faced word and write a research paper on it. So of course I wait till the end of the semester, flip through, try to find something that's at least interesting, and hopefully I can write something quick about, well, this phrase secret shopper, mystery shopper just kept jumping out at me, and I thought, well, I'll write a paper on this. It's almost like corporate spying. You send in a secret customer. They act like all the other customers that are in there, but when they leave, they write fill out a survey about their experience, you know, how clean it was, if it's a restaurant, and how good the food was. So I turned in the paper, couldn't stop thinking about it. So I went and spent $20 on business cards and letterhead that said Stephen Austin Stovall, President of Phantom Shopper. I put my dorm room as my corporate office address. And then I started going around knocking on doors trying to find somebody I could shop for. And finally, this gentleman, his name was Joe Croce, and he said, I know what you're dealing with. I started my first pizza restaurant when I was 24 years old. No one's taking you seriously. I'll give you a shot. That's all I needed. And so that mentoring that I got from Joe Croce, by the way, he's the guy that founded Cece's Pizza.
Okay.
But the mentoring I got from him was phenomenal. And I ended up being the second largest mystery shopping firm in the entire country just a few years later.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So do entrepreneurs sort of help each other out in that, I mean, kind of gave you a shot. Is that typical?
I think it is, especially for young entrepreneurs, and that's what I enjoy about my job here is I get to mentor young entrepreneurs who are coming up through the program. I was the same thing. I was 19 years old and didn't really know where I was headed, but I actually got a degree in human resource management, so still didn't know what I was going to do. And then when this fell into my lap, and I think an entrepreneurship venture finds you. You don't necessarily find it.
Okay.
And that's where my story starts.
Is there any sort of personality profile that makes a good entrepreneur?
Yeah, risk taker. It's got to be somebody that's willing to roll those dice. They really need to be able to do that and realize that you're going to fail. But the thing is, you've got to learn from those mistakes. I failed several times. I've also had successes. But I think my successes came because I learned from my failures.
What courses do you teach here at the university?
I teach the Principles of Entrepreneurship class. That's our kind of sophomore, junior level class.
Okay.
And then I get into more high level stuff with seniors and some grad students with things like managing and growing the family business and creativity. And I do the practicum course as well. So that's a hands-on course where students actually start a business in the class.
Wow. Because you've conducted a lot of different workshops, some of the management, supervision, increasing sales, social media. Which one generates the most interest or has the most engagement tied to it? By
far, I get asked to do workshops on creativity more than anything else. People want to enhance or find their creativity, and everybody can be. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people get artistic talents confused with creative talents. And anybody can be creative. Not everybody can be an artist, but everybody can be creative.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't think I would be the creative type.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. I do it for students. I do it for companies. Have all these different workshops. It's very hands-on, and you really start to find your creativity through different kinds of exercises.
Do you have to? I guess you have to think in a different way. What are some of the things?
It's that whole right brain, left brain argument, isn't it? So yeah, some of it is, and some of it is a different approach and a different way of thinking. Sometimes just opening your eyes to things that have been there all along.
Looking at it in a different way.
Sure.
So let's talk about entrepreneurship. That's a big thing here at the university. Has been growing a lot over the years. And you started some companies. So what are you sharing with students who are wanting to be entrepreneurs? What are some of the things you've learned that you share with them?
Absolutely. So I've only been here 3 years now. So when I came in, the program was primarily geared to new venture creation, which is good. You know, starting a business from scratch is great. And we teach that. We have an entire course just on writing a business plan. Okay. However, not every student, when they're 22 years of age and graduates, is able to go start a business. They don't necessarily have the financial background for that. They don't necessarily have the experience. And plus, they got student loans and other debts that suddenly they've got to pay.
Right.
So that idea of starting a business may be put on the back burner. So what we're trying to do is not only teach new venture creation, but the entrepreneurial mindset. We want to graduate students who think like an entrepreneur, somebody that's a bottom line thinker, they're creative, they're a good problem solver. And because any company would love to hire somebody that thinks like that. I think about the companies that I've had. I would love to hire somebody that thinks like an entrepreneur versus somebody that maybe just is a silo major. You know, I'm only an accountant, I'm only a marketing person. But somebody that can take all those pieces and put them together, I think is extremely valuable. In fact, we're changing the name of our program. It's no longer going to be just entrepreneurship. We just got through all the approval processes. Now it goes up to the state, is to change our major, minor, and our MBA from entrepreneurship to entrepreneurship and corporate innovation. And we think that's a very sexy title. We think that's going to be really great for recruiting. We think that's going to really show that we're focused on that entrepreneurial mindset.
Well, one of the things, Dr. Vargas has been on this program many times, and one of the things he talks about a lot is to graduate students who are problem solvers. He said if they're a problem solver, they can plug in pretty much anywhere because every company needs a problem solved.
That's exactly right, yeah. When I talk to recruiters, a lot of them will say, what I'm looking for is a fit. We're looking for a cultural fit, we're looking for a personality fit, and we'll teach them how to do the mechanics of their job, but we need somebody who can solve problems. We need somebody who can show up to work and be there on time, people that can take initiative. And how do you teach that? How do you do that? So those are the students who are going to do really well, those that already have those things, and then combine that with a CMO degree, they're going to be rock stars.
Yeah. Well, and I would think, I don't know how you would teach this, but how not to get discouraged, because it seems to me, let's say you maybe get a string of that's not going to work, it would be hard to sort of come up out of that, right? It
is. And plus, if you have employees that are working for you, when you realize every decision you're making, their families are dependent upon you making the right decision. That's a very scary thing for an entrepreneur. And that's something they've got to be willing to face, is that there's going to be a lot of people counting on you and your decision-making abilities.
Have a lot of the weight on your shoulder, a lot of responsibility.
It is very much a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Blakemore Family Business Initiative. Tell us what that's about.
David Blakemore, he's an alum. He went to school here, got his undergrad degree, he's got his MBA from here, and he was in a family business. And he said, I think family businesses that are multi-generational, handed down from one generation to the next, maybe get kind of left out. Everybody's focused on, I want to go start a restaurant, or I got a boutique I want to start.
Okay.
He said, what about those students who are in a family business? Well, what about them? So he gave us a very generous donation that we're using in a lot of different ways. So we have fellowships for faculty who research family business. We have internships opportunities for students. We have conferences that we're putting on. We're working with guest speakers and putting panel discussions together. So Blakemore has definitely afforded us a chance to be able to put more focus on a family business.
Are there a lot of family businesses out there in the ecosystem?
Absolutely. I mean, just here locally, there's some really big names in the hotel industry and farm supply that are family businesses. And there's even smaller ones all over the place. There are restaurant chains that are also family businesses. So yeah, it's very, very critical in this region and all across the country.
Yeah, and probably some unique challenges when it's family owned as opposed to not, maybe.
Yeah, conflict is a lot different in a family business because, you know, if you're not in a family business and there's conflict, when you go apart, you go apart. But a family business, you still see each other at Thanksgiving, you still see each other at Christmas, and sometimes you work together and live together at the same time. So those can be very challenging.
Yeah. What are you seeing from students? Are a lot of students really interested in being entrepreneurs? Or are they wanting to just work for a big company and be an executive? What's the students thinking? What they're thinking now?
I think we're in the midst of a cultural shift that's happening. So 10 years ago, if I were to ask a class of students, hey, how many of you want to be an entrepreneur? I might get 2 out of 30 raise their hand. And they said, oh, it's, I've seen my family struggle. I've seen people go bankrupt. I don't think that's for me. Today, it's the opposite. The vast majority of students say at some point, I want to open my own business. And I think the economy is a big part of that. It is a struggle. And I think people want to write their own rules and have their own opportunities and not be beholden to others. So I think that's why we're seeing this interest in entrepreneurship.
We got about 90 seconds left. But is a lot of that, I want to be my own boss, I want to be able to say we're going to do this and go in this direction and not in that direction, is a lot of just being their own person?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think the people who are risk takers, the people who have that propensity to want to succeed and look for success, they're going to do very well as entrepreneurs.
Very interesting. Dr. Stovall, thanks so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
And SE Connect is a collaboration of KRCU Public Radio and the Department of Mass Media here at Southeast Missouri State University. Thanks to our guests and to you for watching. And from the Rest Center for Media, I'm Dan Woods. Be sure to tune in next time for SE Connect.